Hi, this is Sarah Lacy, and welcome to TechCrunch TV. Our guest today is Reshma Sohoni from Seed Fund, from Seedcamp. Seedcamp, Seed Fund. What do you call yourself, Reshma?
Seedcamp.
But now you can call yourself Seed Fund because your news today is you have raised a new fund, right?
Exactly. So this is a second part of our evolution, and very happy to announce that we'll be doing more in Europe and helping more companies. So we're announcing a first close of 3 million euros of our new fund.
Exciting, and you want that to be much more than that by the end. How big are your eyes here?
Absolutely. No, it's all about being able to support more startups. So we can definitely, towards the end of the year, once we close, hope to be at a higher level, and then therefore we can just put more money to work.
So you were saying earlier that Seed Camp was sort of an experiment 3 years ago that you guys did to see if you could help bootstrap more startups, give that really crucial early stage mentoring that's missing in so many parts of Europe. What have you learned throughout this experiment, and how far can 3 million euros get you going forward?
Yeah, so similar to some of the other sort of acceleration programs, the fact that it costs much less to start up a company. Our 50,000 euros does go a long way. Obviously, these guys raise more money quickly thereafter, and it's meant to be for, a few months of being able to really support them. But I think one of the biggest things we've learned is that it's amazing what mentorship early on can do in terms of whether your business needs a pivot or hiring those, really great people on board and getting some of the right connections on board. The earlier, the better. And I've been even surprised at how important that has been.
And what are you seeing broadly in Europe when it comes to startup activity? I think in the last couple quarters there was a trend where London was the only place where venture capital investments was decreasing. It was going up everywhere else, Asia, in South America, other parts of, more emerging kind of high growth economies. So broadly in Europe, do you think that's the trend, or are there pockets in Europe where this early stage ecosystem is really taking off, maybe for the first time? Maybe it looks different.
Yeah, I think absolutely. The key hubs, London, Paris, Berlin are still very active, and a lot more things are happening here. You heard some of the announcements from the new administration in the UK, but that said, a lot of people don't talk about what's happening outside some of these hubs. And, there's a new fund that launched, Credo Ventures, out of the Czech Republic, based in Prague. There's a thing called the Hub, which is in Bucharest, Romania. So much activity is going on in these other places, which a lot of people don't talk about, but it's definitely happening, and it wasn't there just a year ago or 5 years ago. So it's picking up speed at a much faster pace.
Now, I think you guys are interesting because, there is this thing where not enough investors get out of those hubs, as you're saying, and go out and invest in companies. Although most of the VCs you would talk to, even the ones who aren't doing it, would say, well, there's obviously opportunities there. There's obviously smart kids coming out of there. This is just a very boutique industry that doesn't scale. And without me getting on a plane and going spending all this time, I can't do deals in these places. There's kind of this chicken and egg thing. So, you guys are the ones who are just kind of going out there and making it happen. But have you found in some sense that it is harder than you might have thought 3 years ago?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even we were at sort of one event a month, and that's hard to continue to add new cities, and that's why we've taken a regional approach within the Baltics and the Balkans and Central Eastern Europe. So we've had to do a little bit of that as well. But one of the things I found, though, is more of the investors are opening up their minds to working with strong local partners. So, we see definitely more US investors looking this way and saying, well, if I can work with a few people I really trust in these local markets, then it allows me to scale the ability to invest. So we're seeing, a broadening of the mindset there too. But, it is hard. And I think one thing we've seen a greater acceptance of in these different cities is at least to come to that, one or two hubs that are closest, and then to London, and then onwards and so forth. So I think it's just, even with the entrepreneurs, it's just opening them up a little bit to the possibilities outside of their market.
Can you give us an example of one of your favorite companies that you guys have found that maybe would have stayed off the radar if it hadn't been for Seed Camp?
Yeah, so I mean, we do talk a lot about Zamanta or Erpli, even Erpli's from Estonia and Zamanta from Slovenia. But I mean, they keep Zamanta guys especially say if it hadn't been for Seedcamp at that time in 2007 when they applied, they didn't feel confident enough to try to go start something on their own and move to a London or move to a valley. So it was very much the fact that the program was there that they felt it was much easier to access than trying to just just call up investors or just call up people and say, oh, we're two guys you don't know from Slovenia or from Estonia.
And how is that company doing today?
So Zamanta's doing really well. They've attracted funding from Union Square Ventures, and Erpley's attracted funding from Red Point Ventures as well. So two really good U.S. funds, along with Index and then Eden Ventures, which are local to well, Eden particularly local to the UK. So they've gotten investors across the board, and I think Zamanta is just really well known in the blogosphere at least, and they have some great partnerships with WordPress and bloggers, so they're becoming a household name.
Cool. So we've only got about 30 seconds left, but I know that we have a lot of viewers who are always very interested in ways to get more, if they don't live in the Valley, how they can get recognized. What is your advice to companies that want to approach you, may want to apply to a seed camp?
Yeah, so our advice is look, it's happening very close to you. There are Seed Camp and others that are happening in your city or your region. So come apply to that. And one of the things you and I were talking earlier was about us going even more international. And we're saying to companies, we've always been going to the U.S., but we're now going to be launching Seed Camp in New York in June. So that's going to be us tying much more closely with the US. And again, we're in Asia as well. So there's so many different ways to connect with the rest of the world. So it's just about filling an online application to start with.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing if you have any more closes on this fund.
Perfect, will do.
Take
Thanks.
care.